Kamala Harris, in a shock to everyone from liberals, conservatives, and even leftists like myself, actually made a good decision. And no, I'm not talking about her decision to basically tell protesters at a Michigan rally to go f themselves. I'm talking about choosing Minnesota governor and extremely Hank Hill coded Tim Walz as her running mate. And Tim has a plethora of W's, from right to work laws, LGBTQ protections, doing a preferential loan forgiveness program for nursing students, legalizing cannabis, paid family and sick leave, and overall just being an adorable little guy. He's extremely dad-coded. He's a veteran, a teacher, a coach, part of the first gay-straight alliance in his school when he was the football coach because he recognized the value of having a typically masculine figure like a football coach being the ambassador for this program. Now, while Walz does have a few foreign policy issues that could be addressed later on, he has called for a ceasefire and said that the conditions in Gaza are intolerable. What is this feeling? Is this hope? Is this good vibes coming out of the Democratic Party? Or is that just Nancy Pelosi really coming in clutch? Never thought I'd find myself being an ally to Nancy Pelosi. This is weird. I don't know if I like this. But it didn't take long for Kamala Harris, being the Democrat Party operative that she is, to do exactly what Democratic Party operatives do. At the second rally of the official Harris-Walz campaign tour, Harris and Walz stopped into Michigan, a very important swing state, where over 100,000 uncommitted voters organized to protest Joe Biden and, by extension, the Israeli government's propping up of a genocidal regime, killing over 35,000 Palestinians in Gaza at that point. And at the rally, as there will be for every subsequent rally, there were anti-genocide protesters. And of course, Kamala Harris took this opportunity to distinguish herself by doing the most Hillary Clinton thing she could have done.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Excuse me. People who are tired of seeing genocide, I'm talking right now. Everyone's voice is important, but we're here for me. And this, of course, sent shockwaves through not only the campaign, but through the entire Democratic Party. Those defending her, saying,
It's actually very rude for you to interrupt her while she's talking.
Like we're back in 2016 all over again. And of course, those being rightfully critical of her. That is no way to address people who have valid criticisms who you expect to vote for you. Well, you clearly don't expect them to vote for you since you think that they want Trump to win, who has always been very good to Arab American people. And this was a very important place to have the correct response to this. This is Michigan, where the highest population of Arab American and Muslim American voters are. It's where the uncommitted movement started, and you need those votes. And credit to the Harris campaign, it does seem that they have looked at this issue as something that is important to address, albeit not sufficiently, but they at least do see the criticisms both online and on the campaign trail. At a later rally, Kamala Harris was again interrupted by anti-genocide protesters. Instead of Hillary Clinton, we got a little bit of Obama.
That I think that we are hearing from, and let me just say this on topic of what I think I'm hearing over there. Now is the time to get a ceasefire deal and get the hostage deal done.
Now, clearly this is a preferable response to her original one, but this is still not sufficient because calling for a ceasefire is not enough, Kamala, especially when you and Joe Biden have been calling for a ceasefire for months, expecting that either Israel or Hamas will actually get this done. But one party is not able to get this ceasefire done, and the other is unwilling. So it is on the third party, the US, you, to get this ceasefire done. This could be ended in a single phone call. No more weapons until a ceasefire. We already have a law on the books. No more saying that this is not consistent with international law, but not a violation of international law. And Kamala Harris is in a very advantageous position right now. As the VP, currently in office, and as the nominee to the party, Kamala Harris could bulldoze through the Biden administration and force Joe Biden into forcing a ceasefire. It is the popular thing to do. It is good policy. It is good politics, and it's popular, especially when polls show that majority of Republicans, independents, and Democrats want a ceasefire, and an overwhelming majority of Democrat voters want not just a ceasefire, but to condition aid to Israel, especially now that Israel has positioned itself as a pariah state The ICJ has issued that settlements in the West Bank are illegal and must be evacuated and reparations made to those Palestinians who've been victim to this apartheid. But the ICC is now pursuing arrest warrants against Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant. It is only a good thing to push for a change in our position, in our approach, and the morality of the US government. If Kamala Harris is supposed to position herself as a warrior of joy, if we're supposed to believe that this is moving forward, that we're not going back, then we can't go back to business as usual. We can't go back to October 6th. There has to be real truth and reconciliation, just like we did with apartheid South Africa. A ceasefire is just stopping the fighting. We have to move forward, and it starts with a ceasefire and then an embargo. It is clear to me that Kamala Harris didn't change the way that she addressed those protesters at the second rally because she felt a little embarrassed, a little worked up. What made Kamala Harris change was people being vocally critical of her, of continuing to protest, of continuing to write letters to their congresspeople, make their voices heard. Hell, we would have never seen Joe Biden kicked off the ticket if it wasn't a consistent campaign against Genocide Joe. So stay in the streets, stay active, stay organized, and as always, free Palestine. I'm Austin McNamara. You can find me live every day at 7 a.m. on twitch.tv/Gremloe, where I'm live covering news and politics, doing election coverage. I'll be in Chicago next week covering the Democratic National Convention, live on the ground with the protests and inside the DNC. So subscribe, like this video, comment on it, let me know what you think the next top stories of this week should be. And this has been The Loedown.